And without further ado, combining AI-enhanced inspection with human oversight is Director, QA and Food Safety from FGF Brands, Ms. Raman Brar.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Is everyone up, really up? If you're not, just like shake your arms in the air, please. I just want to make sure I don't bore you to death, so I'll try to not do that. Thank you so much again for the opportunity, and let's begin. So I just want to be upfront about something before I begin. This is not a polished, some really different, unique presentation from a corner office. This is just a story. It's a journey that we have lived with the real team, the real production floor, and the real results that we achieved from it. So without further ado, but before we get into the presentation, I wanted to just introduce myself. My name is Raman Brar. I am Director of QA and Food Safety at FGF Brands. And I grew up in India. And if you can't already tell, English is actually my fourth language. So if you don't like anything I say, I'm happy to take the feedback. I grew up in India, and then I actually started learning English alphabets in grade 6. So it took some time, but I cleared my IELTS exam. And then I came to Canada, because Canada for me was not just a dream. It was the dream, okay? And when I was very young, I didn't understand the tax implications like any kids. So I thought basically when you go to Canada, you print money. So I actually thought and promised my brother, I'm like, let me go to Canada, and I'm gonna make so much money, and I'm gonna buy myself a Ferrari, and I'm gonna buy you one Ferrari. And guess what? Anyone who saw me get off my Uber today knows there is no Ferrari. But that's a topic for another day, okay? And then food safety for me was introduced to me by chance when I landed my first job in Canada in a restaurant. So I worked in multiple jobs, restaurant business, whether that's a coffee chain. By the way, I make the fastest coffee in Tim Hortons. That's my backup job, okay? And then I had the privilege to work with multiple other companies, worked in meat industry, and then landed a job in FGF Brands, and I've been privileged enough to never look back. So I'm very proud to work there and represent that today. At FGF Brands, I've had the privilege to lead business transformation, specifically related to QA and food safety. I've also had the privilege to commission all brand new facilities that we have since 2022. I'm passionate about giving back to our community through nonprofit organizations, whether that's taking some challenges, walking, running, and raising funds for the sick kids. Today, I'm really honored to share this stage with all of you. And I know that you're all industry experts, so there is nothing new that you're gonna learn from this presentation today. But it's just to remind ourselves what's important, and that's spending time on the production floor through this journey that I'm gonna share today. So why did we need to do a QA business transformation at FGF? We will talk about these three things. Why, how did we do the transformation, and what's coming next? But I want to spend most of my time talking about how we did the transformation, because that's where the key learning aspects lies. So, quick show of hands, how many of you have sat in a room and someone said, the training is done, but you knew that the change hasn't landed on the production floor? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And I want you to have 3 takeaways from today's presentation. And the number one from that, I'll tell you in advance, is training is not a one-time thing. You can't train just once and forget about it. So why did we need the transformation? Is we acquired businesses back during the COVID times, and we acquired some of our United States facilities. So with any right-minded food safety team, what do? You go and you do a gap assessment, because if this is a new business that you have acquired, you want to make sure that you have all the regulatory compliance needs met. You make sure all the customer needs are met. You make sure any GFSI needs are met. So our team, we went there, we did a gap assessment, and we came back with a huge list of actions. Because we're like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And all for the right reasons. Now, we're very proud of the food safety programs that we have at FGF. And my peer, someone who works at FGF, she can probably agree with me. So what we did is we took our top-notch food safety program from Canadian facility, and we took all the way overseas, and then we basically installed it. We're like, here is the program. You got to do it this way, because this is what we know. This is the best way. So the team who was on the receiving end, they said, okay, fine, we'll do it. So guess what we started doing? We had the program, we updated the documents, we did the training, we got the sign-off. Everything right in theory, right? That's what we do. And then we left. We thought, oh, our job is done. So we left. Now that we left, we came back again, but this time to audit. Internal audits. The first internal audit, this team got 30 non-conformances. That was quite a shocker for this team on the receiving end. It's like, oh my God, like there's so much change already, and now we need to go through internal audit. But that's fine. It's probably a one-time thing. So this team is struggling and working on closing these 30 non-conformances, and all minor non-conformances, so 30 days closing period. But 30 days for 30 non-conformance really can we really close it? We're going to have to work day and night if you really want to do a root cause analysis, corrective, preventative actions. You can't really practically do it in 30 days. And that's exactly what happened. The team couldn't do it. The report was overdue. The report couldn't be cleaned up. And it actually took them 3 months. And the report was still open. Because remember, this is a heavy program change followed by more non-conformance, more work, more admin work. You need to now fix it. So the second quarter comes, and we go again, and the same thing happens. This team is already struggling. And that's when we understood that we integrated our program. We didn't even begin our transformation, because we understood integrating a program, taking it from one place to another, is enough when you acquire a business. But this principle applies actually when you have any regulatory change. This principle applies when you have a new standard comes out, new issue comes out, or any other policy change that you do at your facility end. You integrate it. You don't transform it. And we all make that mistake. So then we understood the difference is that integration is just simply compliance. You have a program, you integrate, and you're in compliance. But transformation is an entirely different thing. Transformation is understanding the needs of the people who are going to receive this change and who are going to execute it. Because the execution is the most important part. And through all of this, what we understood is that change is the hardest part. I mean, that was not just from transformation. We know that already. Change in general, whether positive or negative, it is the hardest part. But we need a strategy to execute that change. We need a better change management, and that's what we want to focus on. So obviously, we realized the programs are not the problem. The teams are not the problem. Everyone's doing their best, whether you are the one implementing it or you're the one receiving it. The intent is right. But something's not working. If something's not working, you have to change it. Then we understood that it was a different facility. It was a different infrastructure altogether. It's not as brand new facility as we had in Canada. We had these new brand new facilities. So for us, we were used to having a brand new structure that doesn't break apart. A lot of the engineering, facility, technicians at our disposal. There is a floor crack. Somebody quickly comes and fixes it. We were used to this. And that's how we thought the world operates. But that's not how it is. It was a different team, different backgrounds, different skill set, different knowledge level. Not everybody receives change the same way. It's different. You might have to tell me something 2 times, and I might have to tell you something just once. Or you might have to tell me something 5 times, and then the change will stick. But I might have to just tell you this twice, and you'll be the perfect person to do that job. Unclear roles and responsibility when a change is landed upon. Not having RACI. It's so important. You have to know if a change is coming to your facilities, who's going to do what, who's going to take ownership of what specific task, and identifying all the process gaps. So leadership made a call. So I'm just going to read this from the screen. The best programs are designed to meet regulatory and industry requirements, but the best results come from the people who execute them. When execution falls short, the issue is rarely with the program. It's that the people closest to the work were never asked how to make it land. So we stopped doing these all updates. We stopped. We said, okay, we're going to go spend time on the floor with our frontline team members, our QA technicians on the floor, and we just listened to them. So this is exactly how we did it. First, we stopped assuming, and this shocked us all. We stopped assuming that if an 8-year veteran is doing a certain job, that they know and have the clarity of what should be done. There was a 3-year floor QA technician. We stopped assuming that you do a process check on a daily basis and you know why it's done. Or is there another way to do it? We stopped assuming all of that. So we started with ground zero by just spending time with the team. But this time, the intent was, we're not here to audit. We're here to listen. Give us the feedback. What are you doing? Is this needed? Is this redundant work? So we asked that one question. What you are doing is redundant and not adding value to your job. And that brings me to the second thing that we did is optimization. Parallelly at FGF Brands, we were, as everybody's talking about AI, we started talking about AI a long time ago as well. And our team is heavy on the tech. Anyone who knows FGF is a tech company that bakes. We are not calling ourselves bakery first. We're a tech company that bakes. So the IT team, the AI team, everybody was ready to launch all these AI tools, automation, digitization. That's all we could hear. So we knew that we have a tough job at our hands. We need to do this transformation fast. We need to simplify the process first. Because if you don't simplify the process, you are just automating the problem, not the solution. So you have to simplify everything first. You have to ask questions. Why are we doing this? Is this necessary? Is this an overkill? Are we not doing enough? What is it that always passing? Because if something is always giving you good results, that means something's wrong. You have to stop and ask yourselves question. And this goes to an example, environmental monitoring. If you never have a failure, do you really think you don't have a pathogen? Or you just don't know that you have a pathogen, right? It could go either way. We simplified the whole process, and that's when we digitized everything. Now we digitized it, we went paperless, and now we have enough data. And that's when we introduced AI tools. And now there are like plenty AI tools that we use, which is mind-blowing. And I can't, of course, I don't have the opportunity to speak about all of them. So this is how it went on. So basically, these 3 moves that changed everything was, again, listen first, with the intent of getting the feedback and working on that feedback. Because if we listen to the feedback, but we go back and do nothing about it, it's actually worse. You lose trust faster than if you have never asked the question. So you don't want to do that. If you go, you listen, ask the feedback, go back, work on it, go spend more time on the floor with your teams, and you will find your answers. Simplifying before automation is the key. And for anyone, if your company is looking into different tools, you want to make sure that your process is simplified enough. You don't want to incorporate what you're currently doing and bring it to a digitized platform, because it will fire back. It's happened to us, right? You have so much redundancy, and then if you apply something, and this happened at another facility, not related to this project, and then you want to make sure everything's simplified, then you digitize, you have enough data, you introduce AI tools, and now you can drive actions. Now, this is where the human intervention is needed, and AI can actually truly enable you to take your food safety programs, food safety culture to a next level, elevate your teams, and really, really help you. And last but not the least, and this is one of the key takeaways that I want you to take from this room, and I'll keep talking about it. Training, training, training. A one-time training for any program, any update, any document, any record is not enough. And I can't emphasize that enough. Now you may ask, then how many times? Well, I did this Oversight change management certification. At that time I learned this, that for change to stick, you have to train someone 5 to 7 different times in 5 to 7 different ways. Now you may also ask, well, that seems a lot. But you can do it in different manners. For example, you can do coaching, you can do huddles, you can have visual posters, you can have videos, and now, in the era of AI, you can actually use some training platforms. In these training platforms, you can have your all policies, SOPs, everything in that one hub, and you can have people just get the links of it, deadlines, they get training by themselves, and there are like so many different types of ways, so many different ways that you can train people. But the goal is you don't want to train someone just once. And I can say this with confidence, since you're all the experts in your field. I'm sure that you've spent nights updating these SOPs when a new requirement comes, right? You're also stressed at that point of time, like we have to meet the requirement. There's audit that's coming. There's a customer that's going to visit. So you're spending hours and hours updating these documents. And then you do one training, you get sign-off, and then we forget about it. And typically we set reoccurring training, which is every minimum yearly. Do we really think, like this is a question I want to give you a few seconds to think about, is do we really think that this training is effective? Or are we just simply in compliance mode? With this, We know that the most brilliant programs ever written can fail faster than a mediocre one if the teams holding it don't understand why it exists. And I want to talk about the results. So 78%. This is a huge number. With the transformation, 78% reduction in foreign materials in barely 3 months. And if Rob is in the room, this is another one of your competitor. 3 months, 78% foreign material reduction. Now, nothing dramatic was done here. It's a simple, the foreign material was plastic. It was coming from bags, liners. Brown paper was coming from bags. It's just cutting procedure. Something changed that just gave us this tremendous result is spending time on the floor with the mixers, showing them how to cut it, standing there, just talking to them, appreciating when they do it right, so it's a reinforcement. When they're not doing it right, creating awareness so that they have the desire to do the right thing. And we did this on a repetitive basis every single day. And the result is in front of you. 50%, okay? 50% increase in the QA and food safety team engagement. This is a huge number. But you know, this number is more closer to my heart because when you try to do a change management, you often disappoint people. It's like, okay, well, it's a change. Like, change is always just difficult, and change is always just not good. But this number is a true testament of a true business transformation, that you can still land a change and not lose your team engagement. And both of these numbers are important for your business, not just for food safety culture. 78% reduction in foreign materials, meaning less customer complaints, less hold, less rework, less need of any tool to do the rework, cost saving, 50% team engagement score increase, meaning more retention in the team, less talent walking out of your door, less trainings needed, because if you have retention rate good. And these are the numbers that you don't only just care, it's the numbers that your business cares. It's the number that your CFO, COO cares about. And a lot of other tangible, intangible results that comes out of when you do a true business transformation. So I want you to have 3 takeaways from this presentation today. Is 1, your teams are doing more than you can see. What that means is, when I say your teams, I mean your teams on the production floor, whether that's your quality technicians, operations, maintenance, sanitation, facilities, engineering. They're all doing a lot. We need to ask the questions, is this necessary? Or what is redundant to improve our food safety? The least we can do is stand with them on the floor to understand what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong, to nudge them in the right direction. And I keep going at it again, is one training is not enough. So please take this with you back today. Your floor has all the answers. You don't really need big boardrooms to discuss how the food safety culture is going to improve. You just need to be on the floor. Now with the AI, you can actually be on the floor. And I know how hard it is without AI. So I'll close by saying this, is that this week and beyond, please spend time on the floor as much as possible, but this time with the intent to ask the team and listen to them, not to audit them, but really listen. How can we help you? And what is redundant that you're doing? you're going to find your 78% right there. Thank you.
Thank you, Raman. Thank you so much. Open the floor to questions. We know, thank you. Where's our friend from Loblaws from yesterday? Hmm?
Hi, my name's Lynn. I'm from Recipe Unlimited. I really appreciated your approach. I think one of my leading philosophies around operations, particularly in food safety, is around ease. So I really can appreciate that. I'm wondering if you had an opportunity to take a look at your processes. I love the fact that you're taking out redundancy, but I think one of the things that we maybe overlook from an ease perspective is, anytime I've seen anybody, whether it's in restaurant or on the floor, make an error when it comes to food safety is because they had two choices, and it was the right way or the easy way. Was there any opportunity that you had to make that decision go away? So to make the right way the only choice, or to make it harder to do the wrong thing?
Thank you so much for your question. Definitely the second one, I would say. Sometimes the right thing is the hardest thing. And we had to teach this the right way to the team, because there were some changes that we had to implement, and it was the hardest. And we had to just get the buy-in from the team. We had to really explain why these changes are being made, how would this benefit you in a long run, and how this generally helps you doing your job better. And how is it better for you? Because if I think the team doesn't understand why a change is being made, they will be very reluctant to follow. I hope that answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. Sorry, we'll get the microphone for you. Eventually. One here, then we're going to go one there. Okay? You can go that one first, yeah. Yep.
Hi, I'm Azmina from Rustica Foods, based in Montreal. We make pizza. You talked about retention and high turnover of technicians. If you could have any strategies that you use to encourage technicians and make them feel more empowered, because they're trying to do a job in the hierarchy that they are in, and I'm sure everyone in the room understands the stakes of decision making at their level. So if you could share any strategies.
What a wonderful question. Thank you. There are a few things that I personally did and also recommended the team to do so is lead with empathy. Know that, and especially like for me, I have done that job myself. When I started FGF Brands, I was a QA technician in a night shift myself. So I understand the pain. I've been in their shoes. I know how hard it is to be on your foot doing 14,000 steps a day, and when you're being pulled into 5 different directions. So it's very hard. I think if we just understand that piece, and then let them know that we understand what you're doing is difficult at times, but also so rewarding, because I think often, because they keep on doing this job on so much repeat basis, they forget that their job is useful. They feel that what is it? I keep on doing this again and again. I go and check the weight. I go and deal with this inspection of this certain area, but there's not much I'm contributing. So I think reminding our teams that, hey, you're literally saving lives. And that's exactly what it is, right? If you're only going to know the difference if something goes wrong. If you didn't do this check, what would be the implications coming out of it? So appreciating them, but also on regular basis, I would say, let's connect sessions with your team where we get some feedback from them, whether that's a technical feedback, any improvements that we could do as a team, regular one-on-ones with the team to understand their concerns really one-on-ones. I've seen a tremendous results come out of it. We have done Let's Connect sessions where team has given me actually 20 items to work on it. And the trust gets built over time, where sometimes out of the 20, I can only go and work on 10. And I let them know in advance. I'm like, guys, I'm not going to promise you that all of this is going to be done, but I promise you I will come back with an update. So it's not going to be resolved all the time, but I'll come back and let you know that, hey, out of these 10, 5 are in process, and the 5, I can't touch it right now, whether that's a business that's not supporting it at the moment or some other hiccup that's coming. But I think just listening is the key for them too.
Thank you.
Raman, nice presentation, very motivating. And I really appreciate the way you mentioned human factor, and that is so important, and I completely understand and completely agree with you. My question is, with these technological changes, first thing is, yes, change is not always accepted. Second thing, it creates fear. So with these things which like more related to emotions and fear, how do you bring food safety culture? How do you make sure they understand and the fear factor is kept aside and the change is more for your benefit? How do you bring that up?
Very good question. Thank you for your appreciation. I think the fear comes from the unknown in our lives as well. When we don't know what this change is going to be, and this is why I said before, even positive change, we are reluctant for that too, because we just don't know. We are unfamiliar with the future circumstances that's going to be there. So how do we make sure that our team's not fearful? First, we need to have a very clear understanding of how this change is going to impact them. First, we need to know as leaders. Only then we should take it to our team. Then I would recommend we have some key points of discussions where you discuss with the team, hey, this change is coming, and this is how it's going to impact you, and this is how it's going to impact your team, and this is how it's going to impact the business. Do you understand? And give them time to absorb this information. Don't think that you've done the right job by just asking these 3 questions and go back and implement the change. Give them time to absorb this information and then come back to it again, whether that's in the huddle discussion mode or some feedback sessions or one-on-one interactions, and ask them, any feedback on the change that's coming? Is there a better way to do it? Or this is like, do you have any thoughts? And this is exactly what the whole point of today's discussion is, that getting that feedback from the people who are going to be responsible to execute that change. Because we can think 5 people in the boardroom cannot decide what's going to last on the floor. It's very, very important we get the feedback from the people who are going to be responsible for executing it. And I think if we all do that, there won't be much issues to deal with, because everyone's going to have the desire to really follow through with that change. I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Any further questions? Well done, Raman. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well done.